All right, so we've got some bread dough here from the Essential Home Ground Flour book. I'm using the basic yeasted bread recipe. And basically I put that in my bread machine before I took my daughter to school. And I just got back home a few minutes ago and this is already finished. And so I've turned it out onto my counter. I'm going to shape the loaves, get them into my oiled pans here, let them rise, and get some bread baking. Vegan prepper. Vegan prepper. All right, here they are in the bread pans. Now I've noticed that with the home ground flour, I can't shape it as aggressively as I do with the all-purpose, likely because the gluten structure is not nearly as robust as it is when you're just using all-purpose flour. So I shape it much more gently. I don't do the extra pinching at the ends and tucking the ends under like you typically would see with a loaf, like the loaf shape for like sandwich loaf. So basically I let it sit. I find that these don't really come apart because the dough tends to be wet enough to hold itself together. So the last rise is about a half an hour, and you really have to just do like only a half an hour or really watch it, because the home ground flour tends to rise much more quickly than the all-purpose flour. At least that's what I'm finding. So I really have to watch it so that it doesn't overproof. But basically, I'm going to take these and stick them into this bag and let it sit for their half hour. This is just a garbage bag that we use for our garbage. Obviously, I haven't used it yet. So when I'm rising bread or proofing bread, I like to use a garbage bag now. I was using a leftover plastic bag from some store-bought bread, like a large plastic bag, but after being used, probably at least 50 to 60 times, if not more, it started to develop holes and just get really beaten up. And so I had to finally throw away my bag I was using, and now I just use a garbage bag. And then once the garbage bag has been used for this purpose, it gets put over by the garbage, and then the next time we change the trash, this is the bag that we use for the trash. So that's sort of how I work that out. And yeah, the bag never touches the food, in case anybody's concerned. I don't believe this is food safe plastic. It's probably not, but it doesn't touch the food at any point. And so anyway, it just works out. I'll show you how I set it up. So basically I put the bread in there and I purposefully create a big pocket of air, and then I tuck the end under. And so it creates a nice space for the dough to rise without having to worry about the bag actually touching it. I've got to be like playing, I don't know, musical dishes with the drying rack and see like, because I washed a bunch of stuff this morning too. So what's already dry enough that I can take it off and make room for all of the new dishes I'm about to dry or wash and put over here. So these are like hand wash dishes. And some of the things that you see here have just been rinsed and put over. I tend to put anything that can go in the dishwasher goes in the dishwasher, but there are certain things that just kind of can't, like wooden dishes and other things. But like these, some things also come out of the dishwasher and they're still wet, and so they come over here to dry. So anyway, for the most part, I use the dishwasher as much as I can, but certain things you just have to wash by hand. Like the insert for my bread machine, for instance, you need to wash it by hand. They say don't put it in the dishwasher and stuff like that. So anyway, I have to pull off the dishes that I can pull off so that I can make room for the new ones that I need to put on. It's such a great blessing though, isn't it? Because we are always eating. We always have plenty of food to eat. And so that's why there are always plenty of dishes to do. So I try to remember that the work is the sign of a blessing. There are people in this world who would trade doing dishes all day in a heartbeat just to be able to always make sure that they had enough food to feed their families. Like they would make that trade. So I try to remember that when the dishes begin to feel overwhelming. This is not an overwhelming task. It's an overwhelming blessing to have dishes to do. And it always puts my heart in the right place when I think about that. Does that work every single day, all the time? Like, do I have this joy inside of my heart every single time I have to do dishes? Of course not. But one thing that I will say is I never do allow myself to think of this job as a burden. It is not a burden. What's a burden is worrying about feeding my children. That's a burden. This is a blessing. And so even if I'm not always 100% on board with the joy of doing dishes all of the time, I do never sink into frustration or anger or despair over the dishes. And I definitely used to, but it was just a little shift in my perspective and a little shift in my thinking that I made several years ago. God was just speaking to my heart about it and just realizing, no, this is a blessing, and it is hard work. There's no doubt about it, but it's like that thing I'm sure you've seen, the meme that goes around that says, choose your hard, or like choose your difficult. Would I rather have dishes to do, or would I rather have no food? I would absolutely always rather have dishes to do. I'm choosing this thing as the difficult that I want in my life, and I thank God for it. I'm going to try to be as gentle as possible with these loaves. So here they are. And so basically what I do, because I don't really have a dedicated sprayer, I just add a little water to the top, just like this. It's super low tech, as most things with me, but that's kind of what I do. That just helps it not crust over too quickly before the rise finishes. Honestly, it's probably not going to rise much higher than this. But let's go ahead and get it in the oven and we will see what happens. Here are my kind of sad looking little loaves. They are very squat. They were taller than this, but they actually got squashed coming out of the pan. So I think I will have to use parchment. I was really hoping not to have to use parchment every single time. I don't like going through so much parchment, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to brainstorm this a bit. So it was, yeah, turning the pan upside down, getting the loaf out. They actually got stuck in the corners a bit. And so, yeah, they just squashed against my glove, but they will still taste good. They're just not, they're just hilariously short. So it's a little better, I guess, once you get towards the middle of the loaf. But yeah, they're still much smaller. Now the original recipe does call for a 9x4 baking pan, and I'm pretty sure mine are 9x5, which probably explains some of the squatness. And so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to buy some 9x4 baking pans. I guess I'll go look into it and see, you know, how much does that cost? I don't want to have to buy new things. So anyway, yeah. I guess we'll go ahead and let them cool and I can cut into them, and I'm sure they'll still be really good. Actually, I was also just noticing that they were getting indented. And if you can see that indent right there from those trivets I had them on. So I'm gonna just have to cool them on an actual baking rack. Gosh, yeah, so they are very delicate. It's something that I am discovering and seeing. They don't have, like I said, they don't have much gluten structure. So the gluten is structure. It's what holds the bread together. It's what gives it rise. It's what helps it retain its shape. And so there's not a lot of that in here. So I think that kind of accounts for some of the idiosyncrasies of this. But yeah, you have to be so gentle. So gosh, I really do want to try to figure out a way of doing it without parchment. So I will keep brainstorming that. But overall, I have been very pleased with the results of the bread. Even still, it's delicious. My son actually hit on exactly what this bread tastes like. He said it tastes like the dark bread that you get at Cheesecake Factory. If you've ever been to Cheesecake Factory and you've gotten the little bread basket, there's a darker one that has the oats on top, and I'm not sure what it is, but he says it tastes like that, and he's so right. It tastes almost exactly like that bread. It's really yummy bread. But yeah, just sort of working out the kinks still. All right, so I just went shopping and I'm entering my purchase into my tracker. I talked about this in my last day in the life. I will definitely be doing a video soon showing my tracker, but basically I have the whole thing plugged in with formulas, and I have my grocery budget set up. So I follow the Jordan Page rule of $100 per person per month. And so because we have 4 people in our household, that works out to about $100 a week for groceries. And so I'm going to go ahead and enter my Costco purchase, which is $40.55 into this little tracker that I already have set up. I just set this up in Google Sheets, so it's totally free to do something like this. But as soon as I hit enter, the totals change. And because this entire line here is actually formulas. and then it does all of the adding for me. And it's really handy. And now I know I have $11.27 left, which should be plenty to cover Halloween candy, because we tend to buy big bags of Dum-Dums, and that's what we purchase for Halloween. I know it's not like the most favorite candy of kids coming to the door, but not only is it vegan, which is, of course, you know, we're not going to give out a non-vegan candy, but not only is it vegan, it's also free of all major allergens. So not only are we a vegan household, we're a household that has food allergies. And so I definitely always appreciated houses that would hand out allergy-friendly foods or candies on Halloween. And my kids would appreciate it because they actually got to eat it. And so, yeah, that's exciting. So most of the kids are not going to be excited, but any kids that have food allergies will be happy to have something that they can eat. And that's kind of more what I'm thinking of. But we're going to get probably 2 big bags of Dum-Dums, and that will end up being the rest of my entire grocery budget for this week. So hopefully I'm set. I'm pretty sure I'm set. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean about a gallon of soft white wheat berries for going into their container. I'm actually borrowing this bucket. Sage is going to use this bucket for Halloween. And so it's just an old food bucket we emptied. We purchased, you know, from the place that it was full, and so we've emptied it, and I just cleaned it and removed the label because I realized it would work really well as a Halloween bucket, and I think it will. And so she hasn't done it yet, but we're going to decorate the front with like a ghost face and make it look kind of cute for Halloween. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and just sort of use it really fast with this job though, and I've poured the soft white wheat from its designated container into there. And I will do probably about a half cup at a time, pour it out, and then just sort of look, and I see right here this little seed. It's just like a little kind of seed that doesn't really belong. And so I'll pull any of these out that I see. There's a ton of them in this, actually. Like I can't believe how much of this is in this batch of soft white wheat. But basically I like to pre-sort smaller amounts of my wheat, because then when I go to bake, I'm already grinding my own flour, right? So it's like, can I have, you know, at least, you know, any part of this process automated? And I can, as long as I pre-sort my wheat or pre-clean it. And I just sort of do it a little at a time, like put it off to one side and sort of move it over. And as I'm looking at it, as I'm moving it over, I'm looking for anything that doesn't belong. Honestly, I don't think that grinding these will hurt anything. I don't know what they are, but they're probably just something else, right? That Azure sells. I'm like, where did you go? There it is. And I can't tell what it is. Like a little hulled buckwheat, or like buckwheat that hasn't had the hull removed or something. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm just looking for all of that. That's not a big deal. But what I'm mainly concerned about is stones. I don't want there to be any rocks in here that could potentially hurt my mill. And so that's the main reason I'm doing this. And I'm just sort of picking it out and cleaning it and making sure it's clean. And then I will work a little at a time until I get through that bucket. So we're just going to sort of sit here. Sage is sitting here with me. I'm waiting for lunch to heat up. I'm going to put on a show, just sort of sit here and do this task and hang out with my daughter while we eat lunch. Sage, you want to find what does not belong? You want to find them? Oh, good.
Sorry, that was my game.
Yeah. You got it. Let me see. Good job. Thank you. Here's another half cup all finished. Get it in there, and we'll eventually get the whole thing done. Got up to check the tofu, and it looks like almost no liquid has come out, so I think we're pretty much done. Then we'll remove these little weights, and we'll go ahead and unwrap it. Hopefully it doesn't completely fall apart when I unwrap it. I'm a little nervous with how large it is, that is going to happen. So hopefully it doesn't. But this is how I I do the tofu. So once you're ready, okay, that did not stay together at all. What on earth? Okay, hold on. Okay, I have never had this happen. So I think it's possible I didn't use enough nigari, maybe? Holy crap. What? Anyway, sorry, I'm blown away. So like there are random little spots here. See, like that looks like tofu. Some of these spots look like they actually turn into tofu, but I don't even know. I have nothing. I have no frame of reference for this. Holy crap. This is a little embarrassing. Yeah, I gotta think I probably didn't use enough nigari, or maybe something weird did happen with the soy milk, letting it sit for too long in the fridge before straining it because it was super thick. Maybe there was too much kind of starch leached out of the soybeans. So I shouldn't do that again, and I should make sure that I'm straining it on the same day. Oh my gosh. That is heartbreaking and hilarious at the same time. Okay, well, hey, I don't always get it right. Gosh, I'm like, my brain is trying to work. What am I doing with this? I'm gonna think about it. I will just go ahead and wash my hands and go back to sorting my wheat. And there's a rock. I found an actual stone in the wheat. So this is the thing I'm most concerned about, and I did find one. So yep, that is why we're doing this process. Yeah, this is the last bit. We're almost done. Did you find one?
I found another one. Oh. Wait.
So cool.
Let's spread it out. Whoa, there's a lot.
I found some over here.
I found some over here, a lot.
Oh my goodness.
What? There's billions.
There's billions. Oh my goodness.
There's a billion.
All right, here's everything that we got from a little less than 1 gallon of soft white wheat. So now everything in here is clean and ready to just scoop and grind whenever I need it. And then that's fantastic. So I'll be able to more easily make some of these things for my family, but it's kind of crazy. It's funny. The pile does not look that big, but it's so much. I have no idea what was going on with this batch of wheat, but my goodness, there's a lot of stuff in it. This was not a very clean batch. So I can look forward to doing that every single time I refill this container in my kitchen. There is a new collection of dishes on the dish drainer now. And I am washing my counter. I usually use just the Castile soap that comes out of my foaming hand soap dispenser over here. I got as a gift some foaming hand soap one year, and I've been refilling it for probably 4 years now, and it's still going strong. And I just do a little mixture of Castile soap and water. And this is what I like to clean my counter with because it's food safe and I don't have to worry about chemicals. And yeah, I'm gonna wash it down good because some of the tofu stuff got all over the place. And then unfortunately, I did decide to go ahead and toss the tofu mistake. It hurts my heart. I don't like wasting food, but I'm also very wary of anything that's like iffy. And if I have a question, I won't use it. That particular tofu, I was already planning on cooking because I need it to be cooked because one of the soy milks was a little old and it didn't smell bad or anything, but I still wanted to cook the final product. And I'm honestly not even remotely sure how I would cook what I got. If I felt safe with it, I might have turned it into more of a silken tofu and like turned it into a smoothie or, you know, a frosting or something like that. but because I really wanted it to be cooked, I had no idea, and I don't want to take up mental bandwidth trying to figure that out. So it's just sort of the embodiment of sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So I've gleaned some information and some knowledge. This also, thankfully, I don't throw away experiments very often. Almost always I can figure out a way to use them. But regardless, I still gleaned something from this. And so this too is when you hear me like in my recipe videos and you hear me tell you, like for my chili, for instance, don't add the tomato paste until the end. It's because I burned so many batches of chili on the bottom of my pot before I figured out that it was the tomato paste. It's I think the tomato paste and the chili powder were the components that burned at the bottom of the pot with the chili. So in my chili recipe, you don't add those things until the very end. And it's because I made it so often and I finally figured out through a lot of trial and error that that is what was going on. So when I give weirdly specific instructions in my recipes, it's because I've experienced, you know, at least one kitchen fail because I didn't follow or I didn't realize that that was something that needed to happen. And so, yeah, I just have gleaned some knowledge. Always strain the soy milk the same day and make absolutely sure that you're using enough nigari. Like actually measure the soy milk before you start making the tofu. Okay, I'm learning. This is my flour bowl that I grind my flour into now. And I'm basically just gonna take the leftover from making bread this morning and I'm gonna stick it in this container. And I just realized I'm gonna do that off camera. And I still made a mess. I'm just good for all the laughs today. But basically I'm gonna stick this into my freezer. So ideally, you would be grinding only as much as you need, but because I'm still pretty new to this, I don't know exactly how much I need to grind. It's my one beef with the book, the Homegrown Flour book, or I have a couple beefs, but the main one is that none of the recipes have the wheat berries in weight. And that's very disappointing to me. It seems like it would be only too easy to just sort of weigh it out before you grind it and put that information in the book. So I'm working on that, but this will go in the freezer to be dusting flour, so that any other time I don't have to worry about trying to grind extra. Like if I do happen to use a recipe that has the weight in it, I can just grind the appropriate amount and then I have a little bit of leftover homegrown flour just for like dusting my work surface, you know, it's for stuff to not stick. And so that's what this is going to be for. I hope I won't end up with an entire quart as a stash, but yeah, this is going to go into the freezer. And yeah, as I learn better, this will hopefully not really be happening anymore. I'm ready to plant some garlic. Adam finished up the bed we're going to plant these in just this morning, so I want to go ahead and hop on that as soon as possible. Our deadline for planting garlic out here in Phoenix is November 1st. So I'm really pushing it, but basically for our area, we need to make sure that they have a full 6 months before the summer hits too hot. So ideally I would have actually planted them a little earlier, but hopefully they should be fine around May. It'll not be too crazy hot and they'll be okay. So basically what I'm doing right now, per all of the advice that I've seen online, is I'm separating out the largest, nicest cloves from kind of smaller ones, because apparently larger cloves give you larger heads. This is a soft neck variety of garlic. I just recently got it in my most recent Azure haul with the express intention of planting quite a bit of it. Soft neck varieties do really well in warm climates. And so that is what I'm doing. And yeah, that's what I'm just sort of working on right now. And then hopefully it won't take very long to run outside and poke these in the ground. Tonight's dinner is just going to be a very simple barley and lentil soup, along with some of the homegrown bread over there. And that is just going to be a really easy evening for me. And then besides this, I do have one more project that I wanted to accomplish today, but I'll show you guys that in a little bit. All right, here is what I've got so far. These are kind of smaller cloves that I rejected, and these are all of the bigger, nicer ones. Oh wait, this one has a tag along. Oh, how funny. Anyway, several of these actually are already rooting. So I don't know if that is good news. I hope it's good news. I've planted garlic a few times with, you know, varying success. Okay, yeah, here's one that has roots coming out already. You know, I've gotten at least a few heads a few times. The first time I ever tried to plant garlic, a neighborhood cat actually dug all the garlic out of the bed that I planted. And I don't know what the cat did with it because it disappeared. So I don't know if that cat ate the garlic or what, but I have found that wood chips, in addition to being a great mulch, are a great deterrent, that the cat does not get into the beds that have mulch. Anyway, so basically the plan is to get out here, get these into the ground, and then immediately throw mulch on top, because I do not want to lose my garlic crop. I'm really hoping to become self-sufficient in garlic, at least eventually. I would love to be able to grow all of the garlic that we eat. I would really love to do that with potatoes too. I don't know if we'll ever hit that goal, but I'm going to start on that as well. November is when we start planting potatoes. So that's the next big gardening project, is to get a bunch of potatoes planted. But yeah, first off, tonight we are starting with the garlic. I'm definitely losing my light, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my barley lentil soup into the Instant Pot first before I go outside. And I will link the recipe that I use down below. It's a very delicious recipe. And yeah, when next you see me, I will probably be outside. All right, I am calling in the troops. Obviously, we have lost some light, but we're just getting the garlic arranged, and we will get it in the ground and then mulch over it as soon as we're finished. But here's the start. So all the garlic is planted, and now I'm over at our mulch pile. We're gonna get that mulch, keep that garlic safe from the cat, and hopefully this will be over pretty quickly. Okay, here's all the mulch. So hopefully it's enough, but if not, I'll just wheel back over here and get some more. Nothing quite like a freshly planted garden bed. It's the most physical work that I've done since my surgery. It feels amazing. There is a plane going overhead, but without the plane, if I close my eyes, I smell all this beautiful wood, and the sound of the traffic can almost sound like the sound of wind through the pines instead. I can be transported a little bit. It's a beautiful thing. I hope that these grow well. We'll see. So Elliot ran a bath for Sage, and so basically I'm gonna go in, I will finish up her bath time, hopefully I will be able to get a shower, and then Adam will be home hopefully pretty soon, and dinner will already be made, and I don't know, it feels like a really good day of work, but like I said, there's still one little project left, and yeah, after that, gosh, I don't know, it's just been a really good day. I'm so glad that I decided to film today. So my next step, dinner is a little ways away from being done. It's very close, probably within a half hour we will be eating, because I like to let that release pressure for a little while. And so I'm going to basically just separate all the cloves from the heads now, and then this will be my big project for tomorrow, is peeling and probably freezing all of these cloves of garlic so that I have them for recipes and everything that I want. It's exciting. So this is my final project for tonight. My daughter at her school, they're doing a little Halloween thing tomorrow, and they want prizes for the kids to win, playing little games. And so each family is asked to donate some prizes, and so I'm going to donate 25 of these bags of moringa seeds. They did specify they don't want anything plastic. They're not actually doing candy. It's all meant to be kind of homemade little trinkets for the kids, and I thought something like this would be really fun. So I'm going to do moringa seeds, little 25 little packets of moringa seeds, and that will be what I donate, and hopefully the kids will like it. It might seem crazy, but I do remember one time for Thad's, my oldest son, for his 7th birthday party. He is 22 now, so when he was turning 7, we did a party, and the prize that I made for all the kids were pots of aloe vera. And it was hilarious how much the kids freaked out over those pots of aloe vera. And I had parents telling me for months how much the kids were enjoying their aloe vera plants. And so it's kind of funny. Kids they do seem to have a little bit of an affinity for plants, and they like it. So anyway, hopefully this ends up working out and being kind of fun. It's a bit of a kind of natural based kind of hippie school, I guess. And so this is kind of right up their alley. But I'll go ahead and get that done, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that soup. It looks really good. Okay, so the bread is a little short and weird, but look at that weird shape. Look at it. It's hilarious. But anyway, it's delicious. It's seriously such a delicious bread. Yeah. It's just so weird. All right, it's the next morning, and I am finishing these up for my daughter for her school. This is my little seed, my seed saving. I have 2 of these, and this is the one where I save a lot of my seeds that there's just too many of them, or they're kind of too big for me to actually put in individual bags. So I just put the seeds into these individual containers. And so that's where all of some of my moringa seeds are. This is actually still not all of them. I can't believe how many moringa seeds I have. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start packing them up into the envelopes and yeah, finish up this project. All right, there we go. 25 little packs of moringa seeds. I put 3 per envelope, and hopefully some families at Sage's school will be able to enjoy growing some of their own moringa. Like I said, it's actually the next morning, so with that, I'm gonna leave you. I have a little mess to clean up over here though. When I went to pick up this packet of seeds, the container was actually open, and I lost a bunch of seeds in this corner area that thankfully no loose seeds, but I lost a bunch of the seeds in this corner area back here where I have a whole bunch of stuff, and I couldn't reach some of the things. So Adam got up before he went on his run, and I asked him to please reach them for me, and he did, but now I still need to kind of reorganize stuff. So anyway, that'll be my first project for today, and I want to get muffins made before the kids go to school, and I think I might actually ferment the garlic instead of just freezing it, and the cycle continues. So I could make another day on the live video today, but I won't. I don't have enough space on my phone. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that, and you got something good out of it. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time.
I'm starting over.